My name is Savannah, and I was 45 when my world turned upside down. For 15 years, I thought I had a perfect life with Nathan. We lived in a big house with a wide porch, where we'd sip lemonade and plan our future. We'd dance to ABBA records in the living room, laughing like kids. I thought we were happy, but one rainy Thursday night, everything changed. Nathan came home late, his face serious. He sat me down at our dining table, where we'd shared thousands of meals, spaghetti dinners, birthday cakes, and dreams about growing old together. He looked at me and said, "Savannah, I don't love you anymore. I found someone else." Her name was Madison, his 28-year-old secretary. She had bright eyes and a smile that was too big, like she knew something I didn't. Nathan said she understood him better. His words hit me like a punch. "It's not you," he said, as if that made it hurt less. "We've just grown apart." I sat there, staring at the table, remembering all the times we'd laughed over pizza or planned vacations to the beach. How could he throw that away? That night, he packed a suitcase and left. I was alone with only the sound of rain hitting the windows. The months after were like a bad dream. I had to sign divorce papers, splitting up everything we'd built. I moved out of our house into a small place of my own. I lost weight because I couldn't eat, and I lost sleep because my mind wouldn't stop. People in our town whispered about me. Poor Savannah, the woman Nathan left for someone younger. I felt like I'd lost everything, my marriage, my friends, even who I was. I'd spent years being the perfect wife, wearing clothes Nathan liked, keeping my hair dark because he said it looked better. I dimmed myself to make him shine, and now I was invisible. But something amazing happened when I thought I was broken. I found my strength. I started a business designing beautiful rooms for hotels. I'd always loved making spaces feel special, and now I poured my heart into it. My business grew fast, and I won big contracts to redesign fancy hotels. I felt proud, like I was finding myself again. Then I met Michael. He was tall, kind, and the boss of Nathan's company. We met 6 months after my divorce at a charity gala. I was standing by a fountain, wearing a blue dress, feeling out of place. I wanted to leave, but Michael walked up with 2 glasses of bubbly soda. "These parties are better with company," he said with a warm smile. We talked for hours about houses, art, and even old TV shows like The Brady Bunch. I laughed for the first time in months. Michael and I fell in love, but we kept it quiet. Nobody at Nathan's company knew, not even Nathan or Madison. We didn't want gossip. 8 months later, Michael proposed and we got married in a small ceremony with just our closest friends. I took his last name, Morrison, and wore a simple gold ring, so different from the big diamond Nathan gave me. It felt right, like it fit the new me. Michael didn't care about fancy things. He loved me for who I was. He made me feel safe, like I could be myself, without trying to please anyone. Then, 3 days ago, that cream-colored envelope arrived. It sat on my kitchen counter, staring at me. The fancy cursive writing told me exactly who it was from. Madison. She loved showing off, and this was her biggest show yet. The invitation was for Nathan and Madison's engagement party, set for exactly 1 year after Nathan left me. The date felt like a slap. They wanted me to come and see their happiness, to remind me of what I'd lost. I held the heavy paper, my hands shaking. I could picture Madison's smug smile, Nathan acting like he'd done nothing wrong. They thought I was still sad, broken Savannah, sitting alone in my new house, missing my old life. I looked at my gold ring, glinting in the kitchen light. I wasn't that woman anymore. I'd built a business that made me proud. I had a husband who loved me, not for who he wanted me to be. I walked to my closet and pulled out a red dress I'd saved for a special day. It was bold, bright, and made me feel powerful. 2 years ago, I'd never have worn something so eye-catching. Nathan liked me in plain colors, but now I was different. I wanted to shine. Michael came home, carrying bags of our favorite Thai food. The smell of curry filled the kitchen as he set them on the counter. He saw the invitation and raised an eyebrow. "So it came," he said, his blue eyes serious but kind. I nodded and handed it to him. He read it, his jaw tightening just a little. Then he smiled, that confident smile that made my heart warm. "Well, Mrs. Morrison," he said, calling me by my new name, "shall we go?" I laughed, feeling a spark of excitement. This wasn't just about Nathan and Madison, it was about me, showing myself I wasn't broken. We sat at the table, eating spring rolls and planning. "They think I'll show up alone," looking sad, I said. They don't know about us or how happy I am. Michael nodded. Let's show them who you really are. I thought about the party at the St. Regis Hotel, a place I'd redesigned with beautiful lights and flowers. Madison picked it because it was fancy, not knowing it was my work. That made me smile. They thought they were winning, but I had a surprise. I took a deep breath, feeling defiant. I wasn't going to hide anymore. I'd wear that red dress and walk in with Michael, my husband, the CEO of Nathan's company. They'd see I wasn't the sad woman they expected. I was Savannah Morrison, strong, happy, and ready to face my past. As we finished dinner, Michael squeezed my hand. Ready to make them see the real you, he asked. I nodded, my heart steady. Yes, I said, it's time to make my own statement. It had been a week since that fancy invitation arrived, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was 45, and my ex-husband Nathan had left me for his secretary Madison a year ago. That cream-colored envelope felt like a challenge, daring me to show up at their engagement party and prove I wasn't the sad, broken woman they expected. I wasn't that person anymore. I'd built a new life, with a successful business designing hotel rooms and a secret marriage to Michael, the kind, handsome CEO of Nathan's company. But nobody knew about us, not Nathan, not Madison, not even our small town's gossip circle. We'd kept our love quiet, like a treasure just for us. Now it was time to decide, would I go to that party and show them who I really was? I sat on my new couch, sipping tea from my favorite mug, the one with daisies I'd bought when I moved into this house. It was smaller than the big place I'd shared with Nathan, but it was mine. I'd painted the walls a soft yellow like sunshine and hung pictures of places I wanted to visit, like Paris and New York. This house was my fresh start, a place where I could be Savannah, not just Nathan's wife. I looked out the window at my garden, where I'd planted roses last spring. They were just starting to bloom, their red petals bright against the green. It reminded me of the red dress in my closet, the one I'd bought after signing a big hotel design contract. It was bold, not like the plain dresses Nathan liked me to wear. Back then, I'd kept my hair dark and my clothes quiet, trying to be the perfect wife. Now I was ready to shine. I thought about the day Nathan left. We'd been married 15 years, dancing to ABBA's Mamma Mia in our living room, planning a trip to the beach. But that rainy night, he sat me down and said he loved Madison. She gets me, he said, like I never did. I cried for weeks, packing up our life while neighbors whispered. I felt like I'd failed. But then I started my business, designing beautiful hotel lobbies with sparkling lights and cozy chairs. It grew fast and I won a big project to redesign the St. Regis Hotel, the same place Nathan and Madison picked for their party. They didn't know it was my work. That made me smile, like a secret only I knew. Michael was my biggest cheerleader. We met at a charity gala, where I wore a blue dress and felt out of place. I was planning to sneak out when he walked up with 2 glasses of bubbly soda. These parties are more fun with someone to talk to, he said, his blue eyes warm. We talked about old TV shows like The Brady Bunch, and how I loved designing rooms that made people happy. He listened, really listened, not like Nathan, who'd roll his eyes when I talked about my ideas. Michael and I started meeting for coffee, then dinners, then long talks about our dreams. 8 months later, he proposed under a big oak tree in the park, and we married with just a few friends, including my best friend Rachel. We didn't tell anyone at Nathan's company to avoid drama. I loved being Mrs. Morrison, but I kept it quiet, wearing my gold ring only at home. Now, with the party a week away, I needed a plan. I called Rachel, who'd been my rock through the divorce. She came over, bringing her famous chocolate chip cookies that smelled like my childhood. "Okay, Savannah," she said, plopping on my couch. "You're going to that party, right?" I nodded, showing her the red dress. It was bright, with a little slit that made it fancy but not too much. Rachel's eyes lit up. "Oh girl, Nathan's jaw will hit the floor, and Michael's going too?" I grinned. "Yep, my husband's my +1. Rachel clapped. "They think you're still crying over Nathan. Let's show them you're a star." We spent the afternoon planning. Rachel helped me practice walking in my new heels, laughing when I wobbled. "You're like Cinderella, but with better taste," she teased. I told her about the St. Rachel's, how I'd picked every light and flower for the redesign. Madison chose it because it was the fanciest hotel, not knowing it was my creation. That felt like a little gift from fate. Michael came home from work, still in his suit, looking like he stepped out of a movie. He saw the dress and whistled, "Savannah, you're going to light up that room." He pulled me close, and I felt safe, like I could do anything with him by my side. We sat on my porch, sipping lemonade like I used to with Nathan, but this felt different, better. "What if they laugh at me?" I asked Michael, my voice small. He took my hand. "They won't laugh, they'll see the real you, strong, smart, and happy, and I'll be right there." His words gave me courage. I wasn't going to the party to be mean or make them feel bad. I was going to show myself I wasn't afraid anymore. I'd wear that red dress, walk in with Michael, and let everyone see Savannah Morrison, the woman who rebuilt her life. Rachel stayed late, helping me pick jewelry, a simple gold necklace to match my ring. "You're not just showing up," she said, pinning my hair into a sleek bob. "You're showing them you're free." I looked in the mirror, my blonde hair shining, my green eyes bright. I didn't look like the sad woman from a year ago. I looked like me, the real me. As Rachel left, she hugged me. "Wear that dress like armor, Savannah. You've got this." I went to bed that night, the invitation on my nightstand, not scary anymore. It was my chance to close that old chapter and start a new one. I fell asleep dreaming of red dresses and sparkling hotel lights, ready to face whatever came next. I was standing at the entrance of the St. Regis Hotel, the place I'd redesigned with twinkling chandeliers and sweet-smelling flowers. Tonight was Nathan and Madison's engagement party, exactly 1 year after Nathan left me for her, his young secretary. I wore my red dress, bold and bright, not like the plain clothes I used to wear to make Nathan happy. My blonde hair was styled in a sleek bob, and my gold wedding ring sparkled on my finger. Michael, my husband and the CEO of Nathan's company, stood beside me, tall and handsome in his black tuxedo. We'd kept our marriage a secret, but tonight we were ready to show the world, especially Nathan and Madison, who I really was. As we walked to the valet, a cool breeze carried the scent of gardenias, flowers I'd picked for the hotel's courtyard. Michael handed over the car keys and opened my door, like he always did. "You look amazing, Savannah," he whispered, his blue eyes warm. I smiled, feeling a little nervous but strong. "Ready to make an entrance, Mrs. Morrison?" he asked, offering his arm. I took it, my heels clicking on the pavement. "Ready, Mr. Morrison," I said. This wasn't about being mean to Nathan or Madison, it was about showing myself I wasn't afraid anymore. Inside, the ballroom glowed with lights I'd chosen, like stars trapped in glass. People in fancy suits and dresses chatted, holding champagne glasses that clinked softly. The music played a gentle tune, like something from the Love Boat reruns I used to watch. My red dress stood out in a sea of black and gray, and I felt eyes on me. Whispers started, as people recognized Michael, the big boss, and then me, Nathan's ex-wife, now on the CEO's arm. My heart beat faster, but Michael squeezed my hand. "You've got this," he said softly. Nathan and Madison stood at the entrance, greeting guests. Madison wore a white dress that looked like a wedding gown, too fancy for an engagement party. Her dark hair was piled high, and she smiled like she was trying too hard. Nathan laughed with a guest, his graying hair neat as always. Then Madison saw us. Her smile froze, her eyes wide as she took in my dress, my ring, and Michael beside me. Nathan turned, and his laugh stopped like someone hit pause on a TV. His face went pale, like he'd seen a ghost. "Mr. Morrison," Nathan stammered, using Michael's work title. We didn't expect." Madison cut in, her voice high. "Savannah, you came, and you brought—" She stopped, staring at my ring, the one everyone at the company knew as the Morrison family ring. "My husband," I said calmly, my voice steady. "I hope it's okay I brought Michael as my +1. The air felt thick, like everyone nearby held their breath. Rachel, my best friend, sat at a nearby table, grinning like she was watching her favorite show. Michael smiled, his hand over mine. "We've been married a year now," he said smoothly. "We kept it quiet, but your invitation felt like the right time to share our happiness." Nathan's eyes darted from me to Michael, then back to my ring. I could tell he was thinking hard, realizing his boss was married to the woman he'd left. Madison's hand shook as she held her champagne glass. Husband? She whispered, like she couldn't believe it. I stayed calm, even though my heart was racing. Yes, I said, and congratulations to you both. The hotel looks great tonight. I paused, then added with a small smile, though I might be a little biased, since I designed it. Madison's eyes got even wider. You, what? She asked. Michael nodded. Savannah's firm redid the whole place, chandeliers, flowers, everything. You picked a great venue. People around us whispered louder, some smiling, others trying not to laugh. Nathan's colleague, Carol, from accounting, gasped loud enough for everyone to hear. Madison's face turned red. I planned everything, she said too loud. Nathan touched her arm. Madison, enough, he said quietly. I didn't want to fight. I just wanted them to see I wasn't broken. We should find our table, I said to Michael, and we walked away. The crowd parted for us, like Michael was a movie star. Rachel waved us over, her eyes sparkling. That was better than Dallas, she whispered as we sat down. Did you see Nathan's face? He looked like he forgot how to talk. I took a sip of water, feeling lighter. The ballroom was beautiful, with my chandeliers glowing and gardenias I'd chosen filling the air with sweetness. Madison didn't know this was my work when she picked the St. Regis. She just wanted the fanciest place to show off. But now, everyone was talking about me, not as Nathan's ex, but as Savannah Morrison, the designer, the CEO's wife. I looked at Michael, who winked at me. You're shining, he said. I smiled, feeling proud. I wasn't here to hurt anyone. I was here to show myself I'd won, not against them, but for me. As dinner started, people kept stopping by our table, saying nice things about my dress and Michael's tuxedo. Some asked about my designs, and I felt my confidence grow. Nathan kept looking our way, his face confused. Madison was trying to smile, but her eyes were worried. I didn't feel angry anymore. I felt strong, like the woman I'd become after all the tears and hard work. The night was just starting, and I knew more surprises were coming, but for now, I sat with my husband, my best friend, and a room full of my designs, ready for whatever happened next. I was standing on the terrace of the St. Regis Hotel, the place I'd redesigned with twinkling lanterns and sweet gardenias. Inside, Nathan and Madison's engagement party was in full swing, with music like something from Solid Gold, an old dance show I loved in the 80s. I'd walked in wearing my red dress, bold and bright, on the arm of my husband Michael, the CEO of Nathan's company. We'd shocked everyone by revealing our secret marriage, and now the ballroom buzzed with whispers about me, Savannah Morrison, the woman who wasn't broken anymore. But out here, under the stars, I needed a moment to breathe. The night air was cool, and my red dress swayed as I looked at the garden I'd planned, its roses glowing in the lantern light. I thought about the past year. Nathan left me for Madison, his 28-year-old secretary, saying she understood him better. Those words still stung, but they didn't control me anymore. I'd built a business designing beautiful hotel spaces like this one, and found love with Michael, who saw me for me. Tonight I'd shown everyone I was strong, but part of me still felt the weight of that old hurt. I heard footsteps behind me, and turned to see Nathan, his gray hair catching the light. He looked nervous, like he wasn't sure what to say. Savannah, he started, the lighting out here, it's amazing. I never noticed how it changes everything. I nodded, keeping my voice calm. That's the point of good design. It makes you feel something without you knowing why. I remembered how Nathan used to ignore my ideas, telling me to wear plain clothes so I wouldn't stand out. Now he was noticing my work. He stepped closer, hands in his pockets. Madison picked this place because it's fancy, he said. She didn't know you designed it. I smiled, looking at the roses. People trying too hard usually miss the details. He was quiet, then said, Savannah, I held up a hand. You don't need to say anything. Apology, explanation, whatever. I don't need it anymore. His eyes met mine, and I saw something new, regret. You're happy, he said, not asking. Really happy with Michael. I nodded, I am. But not just with him, I'm happy with myself. He ran a hand through his hair, a habit I used to know so well. When Madison wanted to invite you, I thought you'd skip it or show up sad, alone. I was wrong. You're more than you were with me. His words hit me, but not like before. You never let me be more, I said simply. You wanted a wife who stayed in the background. Michael wants a partner who shines. The terrace door opened, and Madison stepped out, her white dress catching the light. Her eyes were red, like she'd been crying, her perfect hair a little messy. She froze when she saw us, clutching Nathan's arm. I surprised myself by saying, "Come join us, Madison, the view's beautiful." She hesitated, then walked over, her heels clicking softly. I saw her fear, like she thought I'd yell or be mean. Instead, I felt something new, compassion. "Madison," I said gently, "can I tell you something? Not as Nathan's ex, but as someone who's been where you are." She nodded, her eyes wary. "Stop trying so hard to be what you think people want," I said. "The fancy invitations, the big dress, this hotel, you're trying to prove you belong." I did that for 15 years with Nathan, dimming myself to make him look good. It doesn't work. Her lips trembled. "Everyone thinks I'm just a secretary who—" She stopped, embarrassed. "Who fell in love with her boss." I finished. "That story only matters if you let it define you. Be yourself, not what you think they expect." Nathan looked at me, shocked, like he couldn't believe I was being kind. Madison's eyes softened. "You didn't have to wear red," she whispered, and I heard her real worry being outshined. "No," I agreed, "and you didn't have to invite me, but we both made choices, didn't we?" I smiled, feeling lighter. "If you want us to leave, we will, but I think we can all enjoy this night." Madison nodded slowly. "You really designed all this?" she asked, looking at the lanterns. "Every detail," I said, "even the gardenias you picked for the tables." She smiled, small but real. "They're beautiful." Michael appeared at the door, his face worried until he saw us talking calmly. "Everything okay?" he asked, coming to my side. "Everything's fine," I said, leaning into him. "We were just talking about being real." Madison looked at Nathan, then at me. "Thank you, Savannah," she said quietly. "I'm sorry for earlier." I nodded. "Go enjoy your party, it's a beautiful night." As they walked back inside, Michael squeezed my hand. "That was kind," he said. "Not many people would have done that." "It wasn't just kindness," I said, looking at the stars. "It was freedom. I'm not angry anymore, I'm free." I felt the weight of my past lift, like taking off a heavy coat. I wasn't here to fight or prove anything, I was here to let go. The music inside played Waterloo by ABBA, a song Nathan and I used to dance to, but now I was dancing to my own tune, ready to go back inside and shine as myself. I was standing in my kitchen the morning after Nathan and Madison's engagement party at the St. Regis Hotel. My red dress hung on the closet door, bright as the roses in my garden, a reminder of the night I'd stepped out of my past. I'd gone to the party with Michael, my husband and the CEO of Nathan's company, wearing my bold dress and our secret marriage like a badge of pride. We'd shocked everyone, especially Nathan and Madison, by revealing we'd been married for a year. I'd shown them and myself that I wasn't the sad woman Nathan left for his young secretary. I was Savannah Morrison, a designer of beautiful hotel spaces, a woman who'd rebuilt her life and found real love. The sunlight streamed through my kitchen window, painting everything golden. I sipped coffee from my Daisy mug, the one I'd bought when I moved into this house, my fresh start after the divorce. The smell of coffee mixed with the scent of roses outside, where cardinals flitted between branches. I thought about last night, how I'd stood on the hotel terrace and talked to Nathan and Madison. I could have been angry, but instead I gave Madison advice about being herself. I told her to stop trying to be the perfect wife, like I'd tried for 15 years with Nathan. It felt good to let go of that old hurt, like setting down a heavy bag I'd carried too long. My phone buzzed with a message from Madison. "Thank you for last night," she wrote. "Can we get coffee sometime? I've been thinking about what you said." I stared at the words, surprised. A year ago I'd have ignored her, thinking she was trying to trick me. Now I saw she was reaching out, trying to find her own way. "I'd like that," I typed back. "There's a cozy cafe by my studio, Tuesday," she replied right away. "Perfect." I smiled, feeling a piece of my heart settle. Helping her felt better than any fight could have. Michael walked in, dressed for his morning run, but holding a coffee pot. "Good morning, beautiful," he said, pouring me a fresh cup with an extra shot of espresso, just how I liked it. He saw my phone and raised an eyebrow. "Madison?" he asked. I nodded. "She wants to talk," I think she's starting to see she doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. Michael grinned. You're amazing, you know that? Most people would have used last night to get even. You used it to set everyone free. I laughed, thinking about the party. After our terrace talk, the mood had changed. People stopped whispering about Nathan's ex-wife and started talking about my designs, the chandeliers, the gardenias, the whole St. Regis glow. Rachel, my best friend, had toasted me at our table, saying you showed them what real class looks like. Even Nathan had looked at me differently, like he finally saw the woman he'd tried to keep small. Madison had smiled, a real smile, as the night ended. I didn't need them to feel bad, I just needed to be me. Michael sat beside me, the Sunday paper spread on our kitchen island. I got an email from Nathan, he said, his voice careful. He's asking to move to our London office, says he and Madison need a fresh start, away from all this. I sipped my coffee, not surprised. That makes sense, I said. Sometimes you have to leave to find yourself. I did. Michael tilted his head. You never left town. I smiled. Not the place. The old me, the one who thought she had to be Nathan's perfect wife, wearing boring clothes, hiding her ideas. I left her behind to find Savannah. He reached for my hand. And who's Savannah Morrison? I thought for a moment, looking at the garden through the window. She's a woman who designs spaces that tell stories, like hotels that feel like home. She found love when she wasn't looking, with a man who makes her laugh over the A-Team reruns. She learned forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay, it's about letting go of the hurt so you can be free. Michael's eyes softened. And she looks great in a red dress, he added. I laughed, feeling light as a feather. My phone buzzed again. Rachel sent photos from last night, me and Michael dancing, laughing, looking like we belonged together. In one I was in my red dress, spinning under the chandeliers I'd designed, my smile real. We make a real couple, I said, showing Michael. He nodded. Better than any TV couple. I thought about our first meeting at that charity gala, when I was sad and planning to sneak out. Michael had offered me bubbly soda and talked about my love for 80s architecture, like big bold buildings from Dynasty. He saw me when I couldn't see myself. I stood and walked to my office, where my drafting table held sketches for a new hotel in Singapore, my biggest project yet. The design was daring, with circular rooms that flowed like ripples in a pond, and a garden that climbed up the walls. The old me would have been too scared to try something so new. Now I was ready. I'm presenting this next week, I told Michael, who followed me in, and yes, I'm wearing the red dress. He laughed. Nathan's going to hear,